Five Rivers.
Years ago, when we came to Los Angeles, I really believed that the greatness of the Raiders would be in its future.
What's good? We back. Hey, we are about to have a great show today, man. We got some people backstage, man. I'm not gonna keep them waiting a second, but let me just say salute to the chat real quick. Hold on 1 second. Oh man, we got some people pulling up. 1 second. Let me just put everything in front of me. You know what? I'm having some technical difficulties. I'm gonna bring them back. I'm gonna bring the people to the stage, man. Hold on 1 second. Y'all know these guys for sure. Hey, we got Raider in the building. We got Severe Raider in the building. Hey, man, appreciate y'all guys pulling up, man. How's everybody doing?
No, I'm doing good, man. It's good to be back. It's good to be talking football. It's good to join Severe and Pharaoh, and we got a lot to talk about.
Facts, man. I'm feeling good, feeling great, feeling good. How are you?
Hey, man, we trying to get the show started, man. We got a lot to talk about. Tomorrow's a Colts game. We're going to get into it in a little bit. But before we do, as soon as I figure out the chat, I don't know why the chat's not popping on my end. But yeah, you know what? We'll just get into it. Man, a lot's happened this week. The Raiders played Grinch. Obviously, we talked about earlier in the week. The Raiders won, but Jack Jones and Kelce had a little 1-2. I don't know if Kelce's aware of the comment. I'm sure it got to him. I'm sure Raider Nation's tagged him. You know what I mean? But Kelce, man, he sounded a little bitter with his comments about the Raiders beating them at home. He felt like they gave it to. He felt like the Chiefs gave that game away. But the response that Jack Jones was perfect. And I'm going to go ahead and play the clip, and then we can react to it. Give me just a second. Hold on 1 second. I just had the clip up. Hold on 1 second. Boom. Hold on. Can y'all hear it?
No.
Nah.
All I got for you is that that was embarrassing.
Did you hear it?
Everybody in the building knows how embarrassing that was.
Travis Kelce said after the game, they were like Santa, they gave the Raiders that game. Do you feel like he's kind of just discounted the growth the defense has had?
He said they gave us that game. Tell them to go watch that game. We took that game. Yeah, we on that.
Just win, baby. Yeah. What are your first thoughts?
So how do you feel about the comments that Jack Jones made in response to? Let me close this real quick. I don't know why that's playing. So how do you feel about the comments that Jack Jones made in response to Kelce? Pretty much kind of discounting the Raiders win, saying that we gave it to them, pretty much saying they didn't do anything to win the game. We just lost it. And Jack Jones responded in the way he did. He's like, "Nah, hell no, we took that game." So, what was your first reaction when you heard those comments?
You can go ahead and take that, Ray.
All right. Yeah. Hey, to be honest, I just like to sit back and just watch it, to be honest, because those are one of those games that it could shift the momentum for this Raiders organization moving forward, especially with AP at the helm. It's going to be one of those games you could always look back and notice that the Raiders went out there and took it from the Chiefs. And, his emotion on the sideline said it all, throwing the helmet. Mahomes was frustrated. And obviously on that podcast, his brother, Jason, he didn't agree, He was just kind of like letting his brother have his little like pouty moment. So to me, it's nothing. I just second the words of Jack.
I mean, it's one of those situations where I see where it's coming from. Is look at the defense for the Chiefs did their job. They pretty much held the offense and check until that final drive, and both of our scores came off of mistakes that the Chiefs made. But at the end of the day, it took our players making plays, and each guy said kind of what they needed to say. Anytime you lose a game, you never want to put it like, oh, you never want to say like they were better than us. You always want to point to, hey, you know what? There were plays out there to be made, and we didn't make them. So the onus is on us to be better. It wasn't the fact that they beat us and we beat ourselves. That's always the cliche. We know they didn't beat us; we beat ourselves. So I expect them to say that, especially at losing a game like that when they were favored by double-digit points. And of course, Jack gonna say what Jack gonna say, man. Jack is like, bro, y'all didn't give us nothing, man. I read that play. I broke on that ball. I took that to the house, and I faked out that kid too.
Man, he came out. He's really honest. He's up front. You can tell like he's not gonna hold anything back. But also that's the culture that AP's building right now. Like everybody feels comfortable. Hunter Renfro, when McDaniels pretty much got fired, one of the first things he says, like he was just talking about how like it doesn't feel like we're walking on eggshells anymore, and that's pretty telling coming from a guy like Hunter Renfro. He's pretty quiet. He's pretty to himself. Like he doesn't say anything controversial. But for him to say that says a lot. And then you could just tell by how the players have responded to AP, and we don't got to it's right. It's happening right in front of us. We don't even have to get into all the little nitty gritty details about how the players are reacting to the coach. Like they're having a good time. They're smoking cigars after every win, and he just letting them be themselves. But also you could tell there's an accountability factor. And I'm gonna put up actually a stat. Let me see if I can pull this up real quick. Go back here. You guys might see the video, but in just a second, let me see if I can.
Why you put that up? I want to say that Hunter Renfro must have went right back to walking on eggshells. He ain't done nothing since AP got brought on either. So he needs to.
Yeah. But yeah, what I was going to show is pretty much the stats of AP as a head coach since he's taken over. And one of the key stats that pop up is the fact that the Raiders are number one in penalties. And to be fair, to be honest, it's kind of been like that the entirety of the season, even with McDaniels. But he's continued that. He's let them play free, and at the same time, they're still playing disciplined football, which is a great sign. Let me just pull that up right now. And we'll be able to see that in 1.2 seconds. All right. Let's see this right here. So at the helm. So I kind of touched on this on the last show, but as you can see the visual. Since AP has taken over, points per game allowed 15.3, defensive touchdowns 4, first in the league, penalties like I just said right now, first in the league 24, takeaways 13, tied 6. Sacks tied 5th with 24. So, man, AP's out here. He has them playing great football, and I mean, what can you really say? There's nothing like you can't really. How can you even critique this man right now, especially because he was kind of held like a bad hand with the offense, because the offense will not be fixed this season. Like it's just no way around it. They can maybe put a little bit of bandage on it or whatever. You could put some temporary fixes, but at the end of the day, like a lot of the issues won't be solved until they have a full offseason, maybe new coaching, maybe some new players, maybe some of these players that's underperforming, some of these contracts. Like they need to get out of some of these contracts and start reinvesting into this defense, because I'm more excited about the defense moving forward than the offense. I'm like, hey, we need to probably get younger on offense and let the defense kind of take over the identity of this team.
Yeah, I wanted to bring up too, because with Patrick Graham and his time with Josh McDaniels up until the point of AP taking over, he was 22nd in the league creating turnovers, and we were the last scoring defense in the NFL. So in the last 7 weeks, how much of a hand do you think AP has had with Patrick Graham? Maybe it was a situation of him going to him and saying, hey, like, because obviously the NASCAR package has been incorporated. There's talent being elevated on the roster, like Malcolm Koonce. How much of it do you think AP has a hand in since taking over the team in the direction and maybe some things that he wants to see, maybe some more aggressiveness out of Patrick Graham? And is that elevating the coaches on the staff as well?
I think he has something to do, a little bit of the aggressiveness. But go ahead, Severe. Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say I think it's just the mentality of the team as a whole. Just as Pharaoh was talking about, just guys playing looser, not being as worried about making the mistakes. One thing you notice is, like, perfect example is on those Jack Jones plays, right? Like, one thing I think Richard Sherman was talking about it, whereas like it's guys will do all the work in film study. They will see the play unfold just like they saw in film study, but be scared to pull the trigger because they don't want to make a mistake. And I think when Josh McDaniels was here, he was a guy that was constantly calling guys out in film study and on the practice field. So maybe guys weren't able to play as loose. And now the guys they feel a little bit more freedom. They can go out there and they can take those chances. I think Jack Jones being brought onto this team has made a huge difference because Marcus Peters was definitely a negative. And then just the emergence of Malcolm Koonce, I think that has made all the difference for this defense.
No, facts,
Yeah, and I'll say
100%.
this. I'll say, like, one thing that I was worried about, like, if everybody here probably knows. I mean, I know Pharaoh knows. I know T. Severe knows that I'm an AP guy. But I also look at the whole thing objectively, too, because I could go on and on about the things that I like and the things that he's done. And we could look at numbers and everything. But I always like to look at the other side of the coin, too. And it's like, well, if AP is the guy moving forward, are there any type of concerns in his style that maybe I would be worried about? And I want to bring it up for you, too, because I really want to pick your guys' brain about how you feel about it, too, because being a player's coach, you can develop relationship with players. And sometimes when it comes to being a coach and you have those relationships, it can be hard to walk away when the moment is right. And I'm not going to say that AP is that type of coach, because we've seen him move on from Marcus Peters. We've seen him bench Amik Robertson and kind of pull those strings a little bit. But with a guy like Josh Jacobs, obviously AP is a big Josh Jacobs guy. I think he's also used that with his relationship with Mark Davis, because Mark Davis likes Josh Jacobs. So you could tell AP's a smart guy. I feel like he's leaned into that as well. At the end of this offseason, do you think that AP is a coach that's going to be able to move on from potential superstar type of talent?
I think he's going to do what's best for the team, but I don't think he's going to have as much of decision-making power as you would think, just because he's a first-time rookie head coach. And not just any first-time rookie head coach. He's a linebacker coach who became interim head coach. Even though we're excited about him, I think Champ Kelly is going to have a big role in that. And, recently I dropped a video about how, Mark Davis recognizes the inexperience within the front office in the past. And he kind of, he's with his comments, he made it seem like he's leaning towards bringing back Champ Kelly as a GM and then hiring AP as head coach, by saying that, if he's going to have inexperience, one of the reasons why, like, for example, Reggie McKenzie and Dennis Allen in the past didn't work out is because the inexperience they had. So he wants a guy that's a football mind, someone who's experienced, who's been through all the highs and lows and has had success, to be in that room to advise a Champ Kelly who's never been a GM in this league, to kind of like be in that room with AP and make good football decisions. I think AP's probably going to have a say, but I don't think he's going to be the final decision maker like we've seen in the past with like a McDaniels or John Gruden, because a lot of the moves, we can kind of say that it was McDaniels he was the guy that was making the final call, even though Davis kind of said that Ziegler was the guy, he kind of took a shot at him by saying like, hey, it's not my fault you didn't have any cojones to put your foot down and to make the final call. And that was a shot at Ziegler. He didn't say that, you know what I mean? I'm paraphrasing, but he pretty much took a shot at Ziegler by saying that, hey, look, you know, he didn't have that. He had the power, but he didn't use it. And McDaniels was kind of, because it made sense. Think about it. Jimmy G, like that's McDaniels written all over it. You know what I'm saying? There were so many different moves that you probably can point to McDaniels. And I don't want to talk about McDaniels. I don't talk about the past, but I'm just talking about like, hey, previous coaches that had a little bit too much power. I think moving forward, I don't think that's going to be the case. I think it's going to be structure, which if I'm all for, I'm 100% behind. I think that's going to be where the Raiders could be successful moving forward, in my opinion. But how do you guys feel about that?
Go ahead, Severe.
Yeah, man. I think, as kind of Pharaoh alluded to, there is that inexperience. We're gonna have a guy that is both inexperienced at head coach and inexperienced at GM. So we definitely have a need to have somebody kind of be there, kind of as an overseer, somebody with some experience, somebody that can act kind of as a sounding board, that has a little bit more knowledge, special situational knowledge. You're going into these contract negotiations, all that kind of stuff. Just somebody that has, that's been there and kind of done it before. I think that would just help tremendously, as you alluded to. But I don't think that AP. If it wasn't for the Marcus Peters cut, I might have had those worries. But and the Roderick Teamer cut. These are two guys that were, that were on this team, that have been on this team for a while, and in the case of Roderick Teamer, but he had no issues, cutting those guys. So I think that he has what it takes. My hope is that he doesn't lead with too much emotion, especially when it comes to a guy like Josh Jacobs, and you think pragmatically, because players are always going to kind of see things from a player perspective, and Antonio Pierce being a former player, I think he's going to fight hard to keep a guy like Josh Jacobs. But that's why it's important to have that separation of power, where you have a coach that has input, but then you have a GM that has final say.
Mm-hmm. No, facts.
Yeah, that's good, and that's something that we've been talking about having for a long time, which is also why I like the dynamic of bringing in Champ Kelly and having Mark Davis, having a consultant, a buffer between him and the team as well. So this is a structure that we haven't really seen in a while with the Raiders, and it's a breath of fresh air to finally get it. Question for the coaching staff. Obviously, the offensive coordinator has been a big topic of conversation. Are we going to keep Bo Hardegree, move on? Obviously, I think we're all in the camp of we're probably going to get a new offensive coordinator. So with that being said, man, my biggest question is one, who is he connected to? I know he had the Tom Coughlin, the Marvin Lewis's, and Adam Gase's brought into the building, but what is his tree? You know what I mean? Because he's kind of unique and different in that aspect of being a former player. He kind of branches out with relationships, maybe more so than just a coach allotted into a specific type of coaching tree. So I'm kind of curious to see who he's connected to, and if he brings it in, if we're talking about him not being a player's being involved with maybe moving on from a Josh Jacobs, is that dynamic between the GM and the head coach similar when it comes to bringing in a coaching staff?
You
said a whole lot there, man. You said a whole lot there.
I mean, I will say this. The thing that's unique about Antonio Pierce, as you said, is that he's a guy that he wasn't in the NFL as a coach. Patrick Graham lobbied to bring him in to be linebackers coach, and he was able to win that battle with he was able to to fight and get him on this coaching staff. So I think first and foremost, even more important than bringing in an offensive coordinator, I think we have to do whatever we have to do to keep Patrick Graham as defensive coordinator, because not only does he have an eye for talent in terms of guys that are playing on the roster, but he obviously has an eye for coaching talent as well, because Antonio Pierce is a guy that, like I said, who never been a coach in the NFL. He's a coach in high school and coach at the collegiate level, and then Patrick Graham is the one who brought him to this organization. So I think first and foremost we got to keep Patrick Graham, and then kind of it's unique in AP is that since he has no relationships as a coach, he can go anywhere. He can go really anywhere, and it kind of opens up that search for us because Josh McDaniels, of course, he's going to reach back to New England. He's going to bring, if we were to hire a guy like Jim Harbaugh, he has his connections from the past, Roman and others. So if the AP is different in that he's not really tethered to any particular coaching tree or any particular organization in terms of coaching.
So you think that would GM Champ Kelly make the final decision on who the OC is, or do you think that'll be an AP decision?
I think that has to be an AP decision. I think it should be a collaborative effort as well. But in terms of player personnel, the GM should have final coach. But when it comes to who's on your staff, I think those roles are reversed, where GM should have some input, but coach has a final say.
Yeah, no, I agree with that 100%. I don't know. Is there an example of a coach not being able to pick his own staff? Like, there's probably
every coach that working at the Al Davis probably.
Yeah, for real.
Exactly.
Man. But yeah, I think 100%. I think roster control. I feel like if we have a really good GM in Champ Kelly, and he's a good talent evaluator, and he's able to listen to the coaching staff as far as knowing exactly what they're looking for in a player and what they want, he'll do a good job in bringing talent into the building and leave that to Champ Kelly. But if you're having a coach in his ear trying to force him to pick a player when because it's on the GM to understand what the value in the draft is. So I think that's his responsibility. I think, but once you kind of get into, on the football field, Pierce needs to have that that the trust that he needs to have guys that he can trust that can coach with him. You know what I mean? That can execute that can execute his vision of what his football team can be. And I think that should be on Pierce. I don't think it should be on Champ Kelly. I think Pierce should be the one to be the final decision maker. I think they probably can talk about it. It could be a conversation they can have, but at the end of the day, the final call should be with Pierce when it comes to his coaching staff for sure. I agree with that 100%. But let's get into the chat, man. I finally got this thing going right here. Just another DJ says, Pharaoh, what's up, man? I appreciate you coming through. He also says, man, I had this up earlier, but Ray finally off IR. Welcome back, man.
I'm healthy,
hey,
boy.
Man.
I'm healthy.
Hey, welcome back. We got D Menace in the building. Appreciate one of my mods, man. Appreciate you coming through. Matt Marinovich, he says, people actually think that the Chiefs wanted to lose that game. Oh man, I don't know who's saying that. The players, are the players coming out with that? Like, is that Chief media or the Chiefs fan base? That doesn't make any sense. But it is what it is, man. It sounds like they're sore losers. They're mad that they lost on Christmas. They thought it was gonna be a storybook ending, but it didn't happen. The Raiders played Grinch. It is what it is. But let's get into David Shizler says, stop the magician and stop the show, and that's what the Raiders defense did the whole game. Facts on facts right there. 100%. That's a great quote by
I was
Jack
gonna
Jones,
say that's
man.
got to be like quote of the year out of a player.
Man,
definitely.
hey, Jack Jones. This man, is he a Raider or not, man? Like, this dude, he's winning over the fan base just like that.
Hey,
Right.
but to be honest,
And he's young, man. He's only in the second year.
Mm-hmm.
and the fact
second
that
year,
AP
and he's still
was
on that
able-
rookie contract too. Go ahead, Ray.
And the fact that AP goes out and takes a chance on this, and obviously Champ Kelly co-signs on this and brings him in, and he's able to splash like this. This is what I wanted to bring up with Severe, was because Severe is also a Jane Daniels guy, and I'm a big Jane Daniels guy as well. So it's like, I feel like AP gives us, as the Raiders organization, the best shot to go out there and get that kid, and to give us something that we haven't had in a long time, and that's a potential franchise quarterback in Jaden Daniels. So I was going to ask Severe, with you coming on board a little bit with AP as of late, do you think he gives us the best chance to go out and get Jaden Daniels?
Man, I hope that's the case. I hope that's the case. Like I said, last year I had CJ Stroud as my QB1. I think that was proven right. Right now I have Jaden Daniels is my favorite QB out of this class. Actually, him and Penix. So I just hope that that they can draw on the ASU connection, and we're able to to get Jay Daniels, even if we have to move up, because it looks like Pierce has this thing moving in the right direction, so we might be it might be out of Jay Daniels sweepstakes unless we make a move up, to the top seven, possibly top five, from what I've been seeing from some mock drafts. So hopefully, man, Jay Daniels gave him that shout out, and when asked, about his favorite city, he said Las Vegas. So, hopefully he can make that happen.
Man, could you imagine? And look, I know everybody's like, yeah, but what is it going to cost? And it's like, man, who cares what it costs at this point?
Right.
Like, when's the last time the Raiders got aggressive and went up and got their guy in the first, So I think the time is now. AP is the guy. Like, he's got all this steam. He's got Raider Nation excited. Like, if there's going to be a coach, a GM that the fan base is going to get behind to go up and move up and give away capital, I think AP and Jaden Daniels would be the perfect fit.
Just a friendly little reminder, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't subscribed, hit that notification bell so you'll be notified when we go live, man. Hey, and you see my guys on the screen right now. We got real Raider Ray in the building. So go over to his channel, subscribe to his channel. We got Severe Raider in the building right now. Hey, man, up and coming Raider content creator. Go ahead over to his channel, subscribe to his channel as well, like his videos. Also, you see the you see the names on the screen, so you can find them all over social media with those names: The Severe Raider, Real Raider Ray, and obviously you see me, yours truly, PharoahNFL. But yeah, man, hey, we talking about the rookie QBs in the draft. I mean, that's a lot can happen in between that time, and the reason why I mention that is that, hey, man, some people are kind of connecting the dots, which I do not want this to happen. I'm gonna start with that, with Russell Wilson possibly being a QB that the Raiders might pick up. I hope it doesn't happen. I'm kind of mad that I'm bringing it up because I don't want to speak it into the universe. But people are saying like, hey, Sierra, she got a place out in Vegas, and they've been trying to connect Wilson to the Raiders for a while now, and it looks like his time in Denver is like coming to an end. We don't know what's gonna happen, but hey, do you guys feel like Russell Wilson could be a fit with this team in any way?
Big no. I think if you're AP, man, I think you go out. He has that relationship with a guy like Jaden. Go get him, and I think if you get a rookie quarterback, it gives him more of a leash as a head coach. It gives him more time. So you go out and make a move for a Russell Wilson, then it's just you're kind of putting yourself in a corner a little bit. And if it doesn't work out, then it looks ugly on him. So I don't know, man. I'm out on the Russell Wilson talk.
Yeah, definitely, man. I don't want to say that's Jimmy G 2.0 because Russell Wilson's actually played pretty good football in some spots, but you don't want to go, you don't want to go back to a retread quarterback. Go ahead and get a young guy, build for the future. We have a franchise guy in place that we are able to draft and coach up our way, and he'll be our player. So let's just go that route, man.
Yeah, and the reasoning, so I'm going to play devil's advocate. Like I said, I don't want this to happen, but I'm going to play the other side because everybody over here wants to be like, nah, we don't want Russell Wilson, so I'm going to play the other side. The other side is Mark Davis. Mark Davis wants that veteran QB. He wants to win now. There are reports that feel like with AP, he feels like he wants to see what's going to happen if he's able to reload, have him kind of play, like basically keep this roster for the most part. Maybe probably add some pieces here and there, but it's going to be tough, like, to sell to an owner who wants to win now. Like, if you go after a young QB in the draft and you're not in really prime position to get the top 3 picks. So a veteran QB, it might not be Russell Wilson, maybe a Kirk Cousins. I know he's coming back from a tough injury, but like, you guys see where I'm going with this. Like, sometimes ownership could be a problem. I think the big thing is I think Mark Davis is probably going to have a say in this, maybe a little bit, but I think from his recent interview, in my opinion, I think he acknowledges that the fact that, hey, man, he's kind of like, he's like, hey, man, I don't know nothing about football, man. I need to have someone that's been there, done that, and that's successful to be in the room. So then we can go in the right direction and make the right decisions. That to me has me excited about moving forward about the Raiders, but it's still kind of like, I kind of can see it too at the same time. Raiders, hey man, at the end of the day, come on, man. We're fans of this team. We've seen this team for years. And we say that something's not gonna happen, and it happens. Like, for example, I was like, I don't want Jimmy G to happen. Guess what? They went out and got Jimmy G. You know what I mean? I didn't want Tom Brady, but every report was pointing to Tom Brady coming to the Raiders, and it was gonna happen unless, obviously he retired. So we gotta put that into, it is what it is. We gotta talk about it because it's a possibility. But if it does happen, do you think that the Raiders can be a threat next year, or you think it's just a step backwards?
Well, I'll say this real quick because then I want to hear Severe. I want to hear Severe talk about this because, to be honest, I hear what you're saying about Mark Davis wanting a veteran quarterback to, that's historically kind of what he's wanted. But I think this team this season, specifically with AP, they're 4-3 with a rookie quarterback who, let's be honest, we just beat the Chiefs and threw for 62 yards. So the epitome of just win, baby. I think AP is showing Mark Davis that he can get it done with a rookie quarterback. And I don't think Mark Davis would be opposed to letting AP go out and get a young guy who's dynamic, explosive, can stretch the ball down the field, create with his legs. I think Mark Davis would welcome that youth movement in Las Vegas.
Okay. Yeah, man, I definitely agree with that, and I think that the early success of C.J. Stroud and Anthony Richardson before he went down, and just rookie quarterbacks over the past few years, I think Justin Herbert he had a real good rookie year as well. I think that shows that if you have the right system in place with the right coaching, you can have some success with a rookie quarterback, especially when you have a guy that is a dual threat. We talk about Aiden O'Connell throwing for 62 yards. It was like a net 48 yards because he lost 14 yards on sack. So, our quarterback accounted for 48 yards on the game. We were still and didn't complete a pass for 3/4. We still were able to win. So I think the identity of this team going forward is going to more likely be a defensive team that can run the ball. You see what Zamir White was able to do these past 2 games. this has been the best stretch of running we've had all year. So if we can rely on our defense and the running game, I see that smile. You know what I'm talking about. But if we can rely on defense and the running game, we can kind of protect the rookie quarterback. And if you have a guy like Jaden Daniels, that is a guy that is, one of the best deep ball passers in the draft, as well as a guy that that's one of the most probably the most dynamic runner coming out of the draft for QB since Lamar. So, you can definitely do a lot of things with him.
See the bottom line, and your mic is out, Ray. The bottom line is that the guy that you're talking about, that you guys are like, hey, we got to get this guy. He's probably going to be the 3rd quarterback or in the top 3. And the way the Raiders, if they finish strong and they go to the playoffs, we're our chances of getting that quarterback, or the price to get that quarterback, is getting higher and higher every day. So if that's the case, then what's the plan? You got to have a plan, right?
So I would say this. So right now, I'm not sure. I haven't looked at our draft order for quite some time. Since we started winning, I just stopped looking at the draft. I was getting sadder and sadder. I was moving. I was happier with every win, but sadder and sadder with our draft position. I would say, much like we talk about this organization not making the same mistake twice, and in terms of passing on Bisaccia and going with Josh McDaniels. Do we make the same mistake twice in terms of not trading up when we had the chance to grab C.J. Stroud and we chose to pass on that, and we went with a veteran guy. And there's only one benefit to Russell Wilson. There's only one benefit to bringing in Russell Wilson, and that is if you elect not to go rookie quarterback this year, you want to wait till next year. His salary will be extremely cheap. Well, he'll probably come because there's offset language in this contract with the Broncos, so they're going to be paying him, the difference. But so if we can bring him in for on the low, and the Broncos are still going to have to pay him essentially the rest of what he's owed. So he won't be taking any loss in money. So whoever he goes to next, they'll have a very team friendly deal at quarterback.
And just to answer your question, the Raiders are picking, as of right now, 13th. So that's 78 right now.
We're in prime spot, man. And to be honest with you, if you wanted to leverage Devontae, I know bringing in a rookie quarterback, you don't want to trade one of your biggest weapons away. But look, similar to what the Bears did to move up or to trade back, right? And they got DJ Moore, and Carolina was able to come up. I think the Raiders could kind of be in a similar situation, leveraging wherever they want to go in the draft, or even Devontae straight up for a pick. But there's options, man. Like, I know I've seen a lot of people talking about, like, well, why would you move on from Devontae? Like, free agency has players like T. Higgins. You have wide receivers out there that you could go out there and plug and play into the system. So, to be honest with you, man, I think the time is now to pony up whatever it's going to cost, and we're not going to land at 13th, right? The Chiefs moved up from, what was it, 21st or something like that to go get Mahomes. So it's doable, man. If it's your guy, it's doable.
Yeah, but 21st to 15 is different from 13 to, if he's everything that you guys say he is. And let's rewind back to last year, last draft, right? Everybody was talking about C.J. Stroud. Everybody was talking about C.J. Stroud. C.J. Stroud was the guy. Severe, I'm gonna give you props. That was your guy. Ray also, he was talking about C.J. Stroud as well. I'm gonna give him his props as well. But guess what happened? The draft came, and he was what? He was probably gonna go number 1. There was a good chance he was gonna go number 1, but he ended up going number 2. So the guy that you're talking about, Jaden Daniels, let's say it's a possible chance that he could be the third quarterback taken, and the third quarterback taken in this draft could possibly be in the top 5. Because if you look at the quarterbacks, look. Let's just look at look at Chicago quarterback, Arizona possible quarterback, New England possible quarterback, Washington Commanders just benched their quarterback. They just benched him, Sam Howell. They have an opportunity to get like a top quarterback.
Man.
You see what I'm saying? New York Giants.
I do not want Jane Daniels with Jane Daniels with Airbnb. Oh my goodness.
The New York Giants, do you think they're happy about their quarterback situation?
Yeah,
I don't know. Obviously, the Chargers got their quarterback. Tennessee might be comfortable. They're at this point they've been picking a quarterback every year, so at some point they got to stop. They got to develop somebody. The Jets, they're all in on Aaron Rodgers. I get that, but look, you see the teams that I basically pointed out that needed a quarterback are all in the top 5. Literally.
Yeah.
Well, let me say this: if Anthony Richardson went 4th to the Colts in last year's draft, yeah, you're gonna have to get up in the top 3 probably to go get a quarterback in this draft. Like, it just shows you how needy teams are. So a talent like Jaden Daniels, I think Jaden is farther along, obviously, than what Anthony Richardson was last year. So you're getting a more polished, more pro-ready style of a modern NFL quarterback. So yeah, the Raiders are gonna. I mean, the fact of the matter is the Raiders are gonna have to give up a lot of capital to move up in the draft. It's just, are you comfortable with doing that? And I think for me, I think the answer is yes.
Yeah.
Hey, I ain't mad at you. I'm just trying to play devil's advocate. At the end of the day, like, there are some holes on his team. I know we believe in AP, but like, we got to get this guy some help. You know what I mean? We gotta like, let's solidify something on this team, because offensively, we thought that was going to be the strength coming into this year. It wasn't. It's the defense. But you know what? We know that, like, the defense, as much as how well they're playing under AP, there's some pieces that need to be added there. You know what I mean? We maybe get a playmaker up at that D tackle spot. Maybe get another corner. You know, there's some spots where, you know, there could be some upgrades here and there. But I will say though, man, let's actually get into this guy right here, man. Let's get into Koonce, man. Malcolm Koonce. What do y'all think about Malcolm Koonce so far this season? I believe he's at 7 sacks right now, 6-7 sacks. Man, we've been waiting for this since he got drafted. I mean, since his rookie year, we're like, hey, this guy looks like he could be a talented guy. He just need to get in the game. I don't know what happened from his rookie year up until now. Maybe he had to clean up some parts of his game. Maybe he had to prove that he can stop the run. Who knows? But, like, what do you think about Malcolm Koonce? I talked about this on our previous live, Severe, about, like, hey, do we possibly offer this guy a contract? You know, maybe AKA Darren Waller early contract, you know, like, get him while he's cheap before that pass rusher market hits. And, you know, we're going to be like, you know what, we're going to have to tap out because it's too much money, because we know how that pass rusher market is crazy. But Ray, this is a question for you since you were on the show. So, like, do you think that Koonce should be extended right now, or should we wait and let him do it another year and prove it to us?
I'll say that Koonce and his agent are going to want to wait till next year probably because he's going to want to cash out. But if you're on the Raiders brass side of it, I would say, yeah, I would extend him right now and guarantee him, like a base of 10 mil or 8 mil to be that bookend edge rusher. And if you can get 3-year deal, 2-year deal out of it, kind of get ahead of the ball a little bit in negotiations. Yeah, I would see that. I love Malcolm. Malcolm Koonce was my first player breakdown. When I started a YouTube channel, that was like the guy that I wanted to see get more reps. And we broke down his one-arm stab and how he compared to Khalil Mack coming out of the University of Buffalo with his pass rush, with that move specifically, and how he's just kind of been buried under the roster, and how McDaniels, kind of put him in the doghouse. But, man, now you see him get an opportunity to use his skill set and speed around the edge, and his bend is elite. I mean, his bend is exceptional. So it's just cool to watch Malcolm Koonce elevate his play and this coaching staff to believe in him. But yeah, to answer your question, I would definitely get him extended.
Sean Donahue says, I love that we're finally the ones finding steals like Jack Jones. We used to be the ones letting guys go just to see them ball out elsewhere. Rasul Douglas, for example. I'll throw in that pass rusher. I believe is he with the Titans right now? He went to the 49ers. Man, there's a couple of guys that come to mind. Arden Key, even the D tackle. The D tackle.
Yeah, man. Before that, but we had the Nico Autry was another one. Shelby Harris was another one.
And the D tackle from Michigan that we let go, and he went to the 49ers and went. I think he's
Maurice Hurst
now. Is Maurice Hurst with the
Maurice Hurst? He's on IR though. He's on IR right now.
Okay. Yeah, but he's playing well. He was playing well with the Niners, and he was playing well with the Browns. So we obviously let a talented player walk. I mean, Rasul Douglas was crazy though. Like even Nixon too. Nixon is an all-pro kick returner.
Yeah. You know what? Kind of Jack Jones reminds me of. Do you guys remember when we swooped up David Amerson, and then David Amerson came in and started getting picks and turnovers? I feel like Jack Jones has had that same kind of effect as David Amerson had.
Yeah, and David Emerson actually was a corner I really liked when he came out of NC State that year. A lot of people have been making that David Emerson comparison. I mean, hopefully his career ends better than David Emerson's did, but I think that he's a guy that has a whole bunch of talent. But yeah, man, like in terms of Koonce, I said it last week, man. I'd overpay now, and for that contract to be a bargain in like 2 or 3 years when he's one of the best second pass rushers in the league. So just overpay the guy now, man. Like we did Waller. A lot of people thought we gave Waller too much money initially, and then a year and a half later, that was one of the best bargains in the NFL. So.
And
what do you think?
Don't make it a Chandler Jones contract. Don't like. I felt like one of the things with Ziegler, I feel like his contract. I don't know who was in that building that was helping him negotiate those contracts. They were terrible. Like some of these contracts, like at least give yourself a way out. If it doesn't work out. Like I thought, who I thought was really good at that, and maybe it was because of the Raiders not having so much cash. Was McKenzie. I felt like he front-loaded deals, and when they didn't work out, they easily were able to get out of those contracts. But hey, I agree. I think that we should be able to get him. Try to start that negotiation process now. Sign him, homegrown. He's in the building. He's already developed a relationship with Max Crosby. That locker room. He's part of the culture. I think this is a perfect player to sign instead of going outside of the Raiders and trying to sign some player and hoping that he could have the same impact on the Raiders. I mean, and just another stat for Koonce too. With two sacks, Malcolm Koonce would become just the third player in Raiders history since sacks became official in 1982 to record two plus sacks in 3 straight games. The first since 2015, Khalil Mack. With 2 sacks, Koonce would also become just the 5th player in history to record 7 plus sacks in a 3-game span. The first since, guess who? 2015, Khalil Mack. So, hey, man, Koonce is doing his thing. He is going one-on-one, but he's taking care of business. And that's what we want on the other side of Max Crosby. So, salute to him.
I feel like in a limited role of like the last 7 weeks, like the Raiders, honestly, with Malcolm Koonce, if they get ahead of it, it really feels like TJ Watt, Alex Highsmith. That really solid.
Man, that's some some big shoes to fill, man. Some
Hey,
big
but think
shoes.
about it. Think about it. And since
Yeah,
in the last 7 weeks, he's got 7
yeah,
sacks. And I think his
yeah,
last 4 games he started. So, well, I mean, he's
yeah.
producing.
Yeah, no,
All right,
facts,
and
facts.
this is another guy. This is another guy. Forgot to mention this. Appreciate you, Richard Lyon. He says, I would love Fields over Wilson. So this is another possibility. It doesn't have to be Wilson. Fields. So if Fields comes into the picture, do you like that fit with the Raiders? Do you feel like we can make it work? You think he's a good quarterback option for the Raiders, or should we pass? Or does it depend on the compensation? Like, what? Speak on that, Ray. Let's start with Ray.
To be honest with you, I'm tired of like everybody's leftovers. So I get the talk with Fields. I like his ability to create with his legs. And he's in a rough situation out there in Chicago. I get it. I like the talent. I don't think he's fully like it's definitely not like a CJ Stroud situation. Like CJ Stroud, I think is just an all around just better quarterback. So I don't know, man. It would have to be the right deal. There'd have to be a lot that goes into it. But for me, I want to go pave our own way. To be honest with you.
Okay, severe.
Yeah, man. You already know my thoughts on Justin Fields, man. I don't need to. I'm not a Justin Fields fan, man. And the problem with it is that this is his 3rd year in the league, I want to say, right? So he'd be going into his 4th year. So then you have to make the decision on, what you want to do in terms of contract. So it's not like you don't get the same benefit of having a young, cheap quarterback as you do if you were to draft a guy. And you also have to, and as Ray alluded to, you kind of have to look at compensation as well. Like, what are we giving up to get him? I've never been impressed with him. For some reason, people like love Justin Fields. I've never been impressed with Justin Fields at any point in his career. He's a guy that can run a lot, not consistently accurate. Like doesn't read the field well. Like it's just not a guy I was ever really impressed with.
I do have because my timetable is kind of like getting mixed up in my head. Was Champ Kelly the assistant GM for Chicago when Chicago made that move to go get him? Because there might be a connection there, unfortunately.
I don't think so.
I believe he was. Well, I think he was. How long was he assistant GM in Chicago?
I thought he was in the building. I thought that was the year that they went and got him.
No, he came from the Chicago building, but I'm not sure if he was an assistant GM. I don't think he would.
Okay.
You think he would take a lateral move? Like, you think he would make a lateral move from Chicago to
Vegas?
Sorry,
I think he was like. I think he was like director. He was like director of scouting. He was like pretty high.
Yeah.
He was something in a position like that.
Yeah,
so,
director.
So he would have.
Yep.
Yeah, so he was like, I think he was the head of their scouting department. So I mean, he would have had a lot of say in terms of the scouting the players. But it could have been a situation where whoever the head coach was, they fell in love with Fields, or maybe the owner, like a la Tepper in Carolina.
I guess that's all that matters really, though, is like, what was Champ's evaluation of him? Was he pounding the table for him, or was he steering clear? That's something behind the scenes that I would like to know, because I think it'd give you a lot of insight if the Raiders would actually do that.
No, right.
I wouldn't. Hey, look, I'm gonna speak on the Fields. I wouldn't be mad on Fields. It just really depends on compensation, but I think that it's gonna be high. I feel like there's a lot of teams that are quarterback needy that we're not talking about. We talked about the teams in the top 5 that need a quarterback, but there's some other teams that's outside that won't have that chance to get a quarterback. Maybe like a Pittsburgh, they've always had issue at quarterback because they've always been outside of the top 10, 15. So a guy
Atlanta.
like Fields, Atlanta, you know what I mean? So
New Orleans.
Hey, let's be honest. But hey, look, the more teams that need a quarterback, the more I would say leverage, Chicago would have in negotiating, because you have all these people trying to offer like whatever compensation to get Fields. That means that's going to go up. So in my mind, like, I think it's at the very least, it's going to be a 2nd round pick, at least in that package.
I will say, I like having the ace in our back pocket, because last offseason the Raiders were also in talks with Chicago in the draft with trades. But I think this year, with Chicago having that 1st pick and that 5th pick, having a guy like Champ Kelly who has relationships in that building, if you wanted to strike and trade up, I think that'd be a nice little ace to have in our pocket.
Marty Mart has something to say about Wilson. He says Russ would have a big chip on his shoulder, take less money, and stick it to AFC West Denver. You know what? I'm a pass, man. I'm a pass, man.
Hard pass.
I think Russ is what he is at this point. I feel like he would have to be like the very last option, in my opinion. Very last option if we were to go to Russ Wilson. But if we do go to Russell Wilson, I think that we're probably going to – I don't even want to put that in the universe, man. I hope it's not Russell Wilson. I hope we get a quarterback in the draft. I was just playing devil's advocate just so we can have that conversation. But I do not want Russell Wilson coming to the Raiders, man. I think he is what he is at this point in his career as far as a quarterback, man. He likes to play that hero ball a little bit too much. You know, he needs – I don't know, man. I'm just – Let's develop a quarterback. Let's go get a quarterback, man. It worked for us last time. I mean, when we got Derek Carr for a little bit, you know, a lot of people can say a lot of things about Derek Carr, but we were developing a team around a rookie QB under a rookie contract. That's the idea I like. I like get that quarterback on a rookie deal and build that roster around him. And hey, the rest will take care of itself if we do the right things. Let's see here. We got. Khalipi says, again, he says, AP can coach some defense, but his offense, second half adjustments lacking, but he's only a handful of games in his career. Exactly, that last part. Mike G in the building. He says, salute, Pharaoh. I appreciate you coming through, man. It's been a minute. D-Mag says, Penix is my second choice after JD. Okay, how do you guys feel about Michael Penix?
Yeah, that's my number 2 quarterback. Michael Penix is in terms of just pure passers, he's the best pure passer in this draft. Great D-ball passer. He's a guy that I know he's a semi-pro stylish offense. He's a guy that, I mean, not pro style, but he had to make pro style reads. So he's a guy I really like. He's not as mobile as Jay Daniels, of course, like very few quarterbacks are, but he's a guy that I think he'll be a good quarterback in this league. And quarterbacks. The guys that played quarterback love Michael Penix. Like guys who played the position, they all like Michael Penix as a quarterback. So that tells me about like it.
That left-handed flick is a little difficult to get used to.
Yeah,
got crazy arm, but with Penix though, do you think he also has that like C.J. Stroud in that like comparison in that like he doesn't use his legs a lot? And C.J. Stroud was kind of the same way. Like he kind of stayed in the pocket. He didn't really use his legs like that. So is he like a tough player to evaluate in that? Like, is he a guy that can buy some time? Because that's what teams are looking at right now. Like, can he make that second reaction play?
He's a guy that can run. Like I've seen him run before. But part of the problem with Michael Penix is that Michael Penix had ACL injuries to both legs. So he's more adverse to running than I think part of the reason is because he doesn't want to take unnecessary hits. But he's a guy that even though he's had those 2 injuries, he still can run. He's like 1,000 times more mobile than Aiden O'Connell would ever dream about being. So I mean, if we're looking at mobility, I mean it's not even a comparison.
Yeah, man. But man, hey man, we kind of got a little sidetracked because it's been a minute since we talked football all together, all in the same place. But let's get into the injury report, man. Tomorrow, Raiders play the Colts, and let's take a look at the final injury report. And I'm gonna bring it on the screen real quick. And man, it's kind of blacking out the names, but I'll see what I can do about that. Let's see here. Let's take this off the screen. So we had a few players on the injury report. Jacob. Oh man, his last name is crazy. But I'm gonna put this one on Severe, man. He's really good with last names.
Talking about Bobenmeyer.
Bam, there you go. That's his guy. We got Max Crosby. He practiced all week. He was limited, but you know Max is gonna go, man. Max could break his leg on Monday and be there the next day over here talking about like, all right, what we practicing today, coach? Jermaine Illuminor, he's questionable. Josh Jacobs, I've heard reports that he's gonna miss the game. It says doubtful. He didn't practice all week. He missed the most important practice of the week, that Friday practice, and he's listed as doubtful. I think, hey, man, it's going to be another start for Zamir White. And if Zamir, I'm going to throw this guy, I'm going to throw you, hey, Ray, I know you feel the same way. We're kind of like low on Zamir. Like, we're like, is he a guy that, you know, could be a possible starter? Nah, he doesn't really look like the guy. Severe kind of was like, give this guy a chance. We haven't seen him get enough carries to really fully evaluate him. And the guy's been putting on the show. The guy's been putting on the show. Hey, so basically, Severe, you good?
Yeah, I'm good. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you fine. I can hear you fine. So look, if Zamir gets another start, he puts on a show this game against the Colts, which is possible because, you know, Colts kind of can have some issues stopping the run. Do you think that Zamir can be a guy that the Raiders can rely on as a starter?
Well, I think honestly, because you were right. We were both like, what is Zamir? And I agree with, you know, that take, and I agree with both Severe's take that we got to see this guy get more reps. So to see him get over 20 carries and go for a $145, like, man, like, look, these last two games are going to be huge for Zamir White and this Raiders organization, because if Zamir White can go out there, get 20 plus carries and eclipse over 100 yards and move the chains and keep falling forward and be effective in the red zone, then you have a lot of real question marks around Josh Jacobs, similar to this time last season with what are we going to do with Josh Jacobs. So, yeah, I think these last 2 weeks, man, they're huge for Zamir. And I think in the Kansas City game, his vision actually looked a lot better than I anticipated. And I think that came with more carries and more reps. But, hey, I like having fresh legs in December.
Yeah, facts. Just another guy that you can throw at the defense that can be effective. But yes, Severe, I know we talked about this before. We talked about this on the other show. But like, hey, look, man, do we bring back Josh Jacobs if a guy goes out there next week and puts up 155 yards on the ground? And when I say bring back Josh Jacobs, I mean, like, do we even offer Josh Jacobs a contract? Does it even make sense?
I think that will be. I think Antonio Pierce will fight for us to bring Josh Jacobs back. I think that will be the first time where you have to kind of see Champ Kelly kind of have to put his foot down in terms of this is not a position where you pay a lot of money to. I said at the beginning of the year, I'm ready to roll with Zamir White. That's with me not seeing a whole bunch of Zamir White, previous to that, and what I had seen him not looking that good. Just knowing the type of runner that he is, I know what he's capable of. We started doing a little more power in the run game, and that's a system that fits him very well. But even when we were running like some inside zone stuff, he was reading his blocks much better than he had previously. His issue was never his vision. That's what people keep. He doesn't have good vision. It's not his vision. It's when you're in a zone scheme, you have to there's a aspect of reading your blocks and reading what the linemen are doing when you cutting off of that. He wasn't good at that, but now he's starting to get more used to it. He's getting better at it. So I see no point in bringing Josh Jacobs back. And to our point earlier, at this point, we would have essentially no first round picks for the past 5-6 years. So I'm willing to trade the next 3 if we need to move up to get a quarterback. We don't have 7. We have none on the roster anyway. So go ahead and get rid of them.
I mean, hey, I can't argue with you. We kind of, but it sucks to even say that, but it's kind of true. A lot of first round picks we tend to miss. So if we're able to get our guy, and to speak to Ray's point, he's like, I'm all in. Let's get JD. You know what I mean? Let's get JD Downs, and I know you feel the same way, Severe. So, hey, I'm not mad at it. You know what I mean? But damn, if you got the next 3 drafts, we don't have not one first round pick. Hey, he better be the guy. He better be the guy, man. Because the 49ers, for example, they were able to trade up and get Trey Lance, for example, right? And they traded I don't know how many first round picks, but the 49ers had a really talented roster, so they were able to rebound pretty quickly. The Raiders, on the other hand, man.
I mean, I don't want to get bogged down in this conversation. I know we want to get onto the Colts, but realistically, where are our biggest holes at right now, right? Maybe offensive guard, possibly right tackle, maybe a defensive tackle. I mean, I think Adam Butler is a guy that we keep. He's a little older. We probably need a replacement for John Jenkins. But other than that, Merrick has come on and start playing well. Marcus Epps is playing well. Maybe a corner opposite of Jack Jones. It's not like a whole bunch of big needs that we have on this team. When we can fill in some of that through like third, fourth round picks, and then we can fill in some of those holes in free agency, especially if you have a quarterback on a rookie deal. That gives you a lot more options in free agency. So if you have that rookie quarterback that's getting paid on the cheap, you can fill a lot of those holes that you would normally have to do, in the first or second round of the draft via free agency. So I mean, I think that will put us in a really good position.
Okay, and let's get back into the injury report. I don't want to. I just noticed that we came here to talk about the Colts and Raiders, man. We're getting sidetracked. I get it. But all right, so Josh Jacobs doubtful, most likely gonna miss the game. Andre James questionable. I don't think anybody cares if he's hurt this game. I think we want Parham at center. Give him some experience there. Koonce is on the injury report, but it looks like he's good to go. Michael Mayer out. It sucks because I want to see the young guy get some meaningful snaps, but he's out this week. Hopefully he'll be back last game of the season. Cole Miller. It looks like he's back this week officially. Last week he was healthy, but I think he was there for emergency, like just in case someone went down and they needed a guy. So DJ Turner, Greg. Okay, this is interesting.
He actually played last week. One snap or two snaps.
Oh, Cole Miller Illuminor went down, right?
Yeah.
I think when Illuminor went down, yeah. And Greg Van Roten did not practice on Friday, so but he's not listed as missing the game, so I think he's good to go. He's good to go. But yeah, that pretty much is the Raiders injury report. Let's take a look at the Colts real quick. Let's see if we can let's see if I can move this out the way. There you go. Oh, boom. All right, so we got Cameron McGrone, linebacker, he's questionable. DJ Montgomery, questionable. Zach Moss. Interesting. That's a big time running back for them. He's out.
Yeah, he's out.
That's a big one. That's a big one because Zach Moss, he was holding it down when Taylor was out. When Taylor was missing the early part of the season because of contract issues, and obviously when Taylor was also hurt, he was holding it down. So he's a pretty solid running back. He developed pretty well. Like, hey, I did not know he was this good till this year. And then we got some Segun Alubi, linebacker. He's all good. Michael Pittman, this is a guy, Michael Pittman Jr. He's a big time receiver for them. Not a number one guy, but I think he's a good number two, and I think he could give some smaller corners some issues. I think he's listed as questionable, so hopefully he doesn't play.
Definitely the Colts is number one. You should hear the fans up here talk about him. They talk about him like he's some top 5 talent. So,
how do you feel about it? Do you feel like being out there in the area? Do you feel like he's a number one guy
in that offense right now? Yeah, like he's the biggest threat that they have. He's over 1,000, I believe, and he's definitely Gardner Minshew's like absolute go-to. So, yeah, at the games that Michael Pittman's been out, you could tell Gardner Minshew, he's just a little bit more gun shy. He wants to get the ball out quick. When he has to hold on to it, he starts to struggle. So, yeah, Michael's pretty pivotal for what they got going over there.
Yeah, okay. Hey, man, he's listed as questionable. So, we'll see if he's going to be ready for game time. That can go either way. We got Jack Anderson. He's all good. Braden Smith, tackle. He's listed as questionable. Amir Speed. He's good to go. Kenny Moore. Slot corner.
That's one to watch.
Yep. Did not practice on Friday. That's an important practice. He was all good just a week ago, man. Like literally Tuesday, Wednesday. The Tuesday or Wednesday, Thursday practice, he was good, but Friday, that's an important practice. And then the Forrest Buckner, he's not listed on the injury report, but he did not practice on Friday. But it looks like
veteran day off. Probably same thing with Van Roten, veteran day off.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so that's
Forrest is the one I'm worried about.
Which one?
DeForest Buckner, he's the one I'm worried about.
Oh yeah, nah,
Especially
man,
Andre
nah.
James and Dylan Parham. Yeah, I'm worried about that.
Where do you rank him as far as D tackles? Is he in the top 5 for you?
Oh,
Ooh.
I definitely got him top 5.
I don't know if I've got him top 5. It
I got him
depends on,
top
are we
5.
talking about guys moving inside? Like, are we talking about the Myles Garretts,
No, I think
all
it's just
of
strictly defensive tackles. Strictly defensive tackles.
Oh, okay. Well, then, yeah, probably. Honestly, even at his age, to be honest.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So that's pretty much the injury report, man. It looks like, you know, teams are going to go in there pretty much healthy for the most part. There's some key guys missing, but hey, at this point in the season, there's always going to be players hurt. I think everybody's hurt at this point in the NFL season. But let's actually get into the Raiders versus Colts, man. Like what to expect from this team? Like what are your thoughts on the Colts? Start with Ray.
I like what Shane Steigman's been able to bring over from the Philly. They run a lot of that RPO, and they lose their first round quarterback in Anthony Richardson. Prior to that, he had 8 touchdowns, 1 pick. So they really like to get the ball out quick. They like to move this offense, getting it done on the ground. You know, they're a tough football team, and I think based off the talent that they have, I feel like Shane has almost even overproduced, if I could put it in that terms of wins and losses. I feel like he's done a good job of continuing to move that team, but they're physical, man. They're going to play tough. They're fighting for a playoff spot as well. So the Colts are no slouch, and Raiders have got to focus on the door that's in front of them and kick it and run their pockets just like they have the last 2. So the Colts are tough, man.
Yeah, man. Definitely agree there, man. They're a team that likes to get after the quarterback. Now they had we all know about Jonathan Taylor. I think Josh Downs is a guy that doesn't get a lot of attention, but I think he's a very effective guy in the slot. Michael Pittman, I remember he's a guy when he was coming out. His athletic profile, dude is like insanely athletic. He's like 6'4", 223. He was crazy athletic. I think just his size alone as a wide receiver can give our cornerbacks some problems. Jack Jones is the biggest guy. Meek for damn sure ain't the biggest guy. So he's a guy that can give our corners a little bit of issues. And then they got another their third back. I think it's Trey Sermon. I want to say.
Yeah.
I think he's a guy. I remember he has some talent there as well. So I mean, just because Zach Moss being out, I think that Trey Sermon will be able to fill in as well. So I mean that their team, Gardner Minshew has been used to slinging a rock, man, since he was at Washington State. So they're not it's not like he's a guy that's afraid to throw the ball. So I think it's going to be a tough test. Coming off an emotional win on a short week, I think this could be a tough test for us, man. I said last week it's a classic trap game, man. It's a classic trap game. So under any other coaching staff, I might say we will lose this game because the Raiders have a problem in terms of winning games where we're expected to win. We usually struggle in those games. We have a history of struggling in games where we're expected to win. I mean, we had the last Colts game, we should have won. We had the games earlier in the year against the Bears, and so I think we just struggle with expectations traditionally. And I'm hoping that Antonio Pierce, the effect he's had on this team can kind of turn that around.
I mean, it feels scary too when you hear the defense, when you hear the locker room talking about, oh yeah, we could be a great defense, and I'm like, let's just lock in, like 2 more weeks, let's just walk in, let's not talk about being great yet.
Yeah.
Hey man, if we can stop the run, man, I think the Raiders are gonna be good to go on defense, man. Because I don't think Gardner Minshew doesn't scare me, but I say that, and he'll have a crazy game. He's one of those guys like you can't take lightly, but at the same time, he's a backup quarterback in this league. So I feel like the Raiders, the way they're playing defense, I feel like if they can come out and play their A game, I think this is a game where they can get after quarterback. Minshew holds the ball. If they can force him on 3rd and long, it's gonna be an easy game for Koonce and Max Crosby to get their game going. But for me, it's gonna be about just stopping the run, bro. Taylor cannot get going, and what has me concerned is that there's been games this year if we're looking at the totality of the season, when the Raiders have kind of been hit or miss with their tackling and their ability to stop the run. The Colts are coming into the game, man. They're a top 10 offense. They're number 10 in the league. 13th rushing offense, so they can run the ball. We just talked about Zach Moss missing the game, so that's going to be a big plus for us. We're not going to be facing a two-headed monster, but Taylor can do it all by himself. Like he's a monster.
He's historically tore us up too.
Yeah, and Steichen, man, the dude, he's an offensive-minded coach, so he's gonna have those guys ready to go. It's gonna be on the road, at home for the Colts. It's a 10 a.m. game, so the Raiders. We all know how 10 a.m. goes. But that being said, AP, pretty much, if you want to look at every game, they've been ready to go. I mean, every game's been competitive, I should say. But we'll see how it shakes out. I'm not really scared of Gus Bradley too much. I mean, I feel like if we're able to run the ball, and I think that's what the Raiders' game plan is going to be, is run the ball. That's kind of Gus Bradley's defense weaknesses on defense is to stop the run. And we've seen that with the Raiders. We've seen that with when he was defensive coordinator for the Chargers, even when he coached the Seahawks. I mean, it just at the end of the day, like that's just his defense kind of gives up plays in the run game. And I think that kind of falls in the hands of, the Raiders' strength or what they want to do on offense. So at the end of the day, I think that's going to be big. Just please, Aiden O'Connell, don't turn the ball over. Hey, please don't be a rookie QB tomorrow. Do not be a rookie QB tomorrow, because that's the part of it. I'm not, hey, this is crazy to say, and it's probably the first time I've said this, and I don't know how long, but I'm not concerned about the defense. I'm concerned about the offense, because Jekyll and Hyde, I don't know what to expect. Are we going to get the 30 points to 6 against the Giants, or the 4 touchdown performance by Aiden O'Connell where he, obviously they scored points on offense, or are we going to get the 3-0 where we lose against the Vikings 3-0? I still can't explain that game, but I'm not going to talk about it too much, because we went on a 2-game win streak. We beat the Chiefs on the road, and we scored 60, I don't know how many points against the Chargers, man. We could have went for 80. I wish they went for 80, but it is what it is, man. You can't get everything. But yeah, man, I think it's going to be a winnable game. But yeah, definitely I can see why you guys, or Severe, I can see why you say it's a trap game. You could say that for the Denver game too as well. Both these games on paper,
instead of coming back, instead of getting his revenge.
Sean Payton is an offensive-minded coach. Like, he's played in big games, coached in big games. They have a tough defense
too.
Yep, they have a tough defense, but yeah, man, definitely. Hey, the Raiders can win these games, but AP, he has to have these guys prepared, and guess what? He's been doing it. I can't say he's not going to have them prepared. He's gonna every game against good teams, bad teams. He's had them prepared. Obviously, he hasn't won every game.
On defense, they've been prepared every game.
On defense. But
I'll say this: AP was able to kill the boogeyman, right? The thing that we've had on the monkey that we've had on our back for a long time in the Kansas City Chiefs. But can he beat the teams that we're supposed to beat now? Can he take the momentum from that Kansas City game and what that could do for? Man, it could really bolster what his era with the Las Vegas Raiders head coaching is as a pivotal moment to look back to. That's the game where things really started to change for the Raiders. And can he go in there and beat Indianapolis, and can he go out there and beat Denver? I think with the Indianapolis Colts, you've got to be able to put points up on the board. I would like to see us start fast, because the more that you can slowly start getting the game plan away from Jonathan Taylor and focus on Gardner Minshew having to make plays down the field, that's when this Raiders defense can capitalize on turnovers. And I think it's going to be crucial for this offense to actually convert, specifically in the red zone.
Yeah, man. Look, man. Like I said, man, this is a winnable game, but I don't want to.
Those are always the scariest.
Yeah, man. Short week and Severe, man. Look, he makes a good point by saying that, hey, emotional game on Christmas. We've seen it happen before. Sometimes, teams can play to their opponents. Like, hey, I thought the Vikings was a winnable game, but we lost 3-0. We literally lost. We witnessed a 3-0 game. So anything can happen. But at the same time, like, hey, look, I'm excited. But let's get into the keys What are the keys? I mean, we kind of said it by explaining our thoughts on the team's strengths and weaknesses, but what do you think the keys to victory are? Let's give out 3.
I'll let Ray start off.
Okay, do 3 of them. All right. We kind of talked about running the ball with intention. We'll kind of leave it at that. So I won't get into that too much. But hey, similar to the Chiefs, man, we've got to contain the pocket and get after the quarterback. We can't let these backups, run in free lanes and break free and continue to extend drives, making plays and shooting the ball down the field and having a ton of explosives. None of that can happen with Gardner Minshew, man. So we have to have the D-line game ready to go, ready to pin their ears back and get after it. Defense, man. Defense has to continue to change games. I know you can't lean it on it forever, but the Raiders have an identity right now for the first time in a long time that this is a Raiders defense that's going in to win games. That they're putting it in their hands to go out there and put points on the board. And I want to see them keep that momentum because that's how you take a run in the playoffs, is having a number 1 scoring defense. We've seen it every single year in the National Football League. Those teams that have the number 1 scoring defense, man, they make a real run. So I want to look for that out of the defense. And for my third point, man, Aiden has to be able to step up. Aiden's got to take what they give you. If Gus Bradley gives you your checkdowns or your crossers, if you can attack the middle of the field, you're going to have to hit tight window throws against this cover 3 defense. Take what they give you. Don't turn the football over, and the Raiders should be able to come out with a victory.
Yeah, man. I think the number 1 thing is we have to protect Aiden O'Connell. This team is one of the best in the league in terms of sacking the quarterback. And another thing is that they have the lowest blitz percentage in the league. So that means they're generating that pressure with just 4 guys. So the fact that they're able to, when you're able to do that, and that's one of the reasons the Raiders have been so successful too. The Raiders are like the 4th lowest blitz percentage in the league. So when you're able to just generate pressure with 4 guys, that allows you to do so much more on the back end. So our defense has to show up big as well. Since November 19th, I want to say Jack Jones has as many touchdowns as Devontae Adams, which is it's a sad state of affairs. But I'm not anticipating another defensive score, but I do think we need to keep Gardner Minshew in check. He's a guy that he can get hot, and when he gets in the rhythm, he can really, really carve you up. And most importantly is just continue to play smart, clean football. We've greatly reduced penalty this year. Since we cleaned up our turnovers, we haven't been that's kind of been coinciding with our recent success as well. So I think we have to kind of stay on that same track, just making sure we're playing smart football, not no dumb penalties, no stupid turnovers.
Yeah, man, you guys pretty much said a lot of what I was gonna say. I mean, we're on the same page, man. Run that ball, protect that football, man, and defense continue to dominate. The way we've been winning is the fact that the defense realized after that 3-0 game that, hey, we can't rely on this offensive score, so we got to force turnovers and score points. I mean, that's what's been happening. If you notice, 2 games in a row, we've seen the same thing happen. A defensive lineman pick up a fumble, score, and the same guy pick 6, score a touchdown, and then a defense holds for the rest of the game, and that's how we win. I don't think that's going to continue for long, and that's not something that you see a lot. But if they can just continue to get after the quarterback, maybe force some turnovers, some short field for the offense, get them to score some points. But the fact is the Raiders cannot – our room for error is not a lot because this offense cannot be relied on. So we cannot turn the ball over. We have to run the football because we got to make it easy for AOC. Just like you said, Severe, hey, the Colts are on the tops in the league at getting after the quarterback. And that blitz percentage, that's a stat I always like to look at too as well, is if they're not blitzing and they're getting and they're literally top 5 in sacks with 47, that's something that you got to pay attention to. So Zamir White, please, man, if you can get us 100 yards tomorrow, or you know what, that's a lot. He had 145 against the Chiefs on the road. Let's if he can give us what's a winning number for Zamir White? Anybody in the chat could put this in the chat as well. What's a winning number?
I mean, the Colts are like one of the worst run defenses in the league. So I think 100 is realistic. I mean, last game he averaged like 7 yards a carry. I'm not expecting nothing like that, but I think he can get. I think he can get to 100 yards. They're weak against the run. Even though Zaire Franklin is a dog at linebacker, but they're not a great rush defense. So I mean, I think 100 yards is realistic, man. And if he gets 100 yards again, nah. Hey.
So 100 yards is the winning number. Like if Zamir White gets 100, the Raiders most likely are winning the game.
Yeah.
Got you. Okay. Hey man, that's what it's gonna take for the Raiders to win tomorrow, man. It's pretty simple, but at the end of the day, it's all about execution. But let's get into the chat real quick. Look, we got Boosted says, I'm gonna just call you Boosted. He says we need that 4 touchdown ALC to show up and play, man. Nah, man. That's a mirage. That's just a mirage, man. I'm not gonna expect AOC to throw 4 touchdowns. He's a rookie quarterback. You could tell like he's a little bit overwhelmed. You can hear his teammates say that like he has a good poker face. Like he doesn't really check. He's not too high or too low, but you could tell like he's a little bit overwhelmed back there. But at the end of the day, if he can, he's improved though. I'll say this: he's improved. He hasn't put the ball in harm's way like that. Hopefully, he continues to do that. We got Cowtown Luda says Minshew is a perfect style QB to pick off while he's scrambling trying to extend the play. Hey man, I hope so, man. I hope so. The winning number, Desert Raider says 0 turnovers. Facts. 100% facts, man. But before we head out, let's take a look at the playoff chances for the Raiders.
Yeah.
Because we're definitely watching these games for a reason, because there's a chance that the Raiders can make the playoffs. But let's actually take a look real quick. Let me pull this up.
I'm starting to believe, man, and that's the dangerous thing, man. I'm starting to believe, man. I'm starting to believe. That's dangerous, man.
Severe always pissing everybody off too. Severe always pissing everybody off by saying what we don't want to hear.
It's my job, man. Man, we have, man, the way things are lining up, man. I think we were like, when the Broncos lost to the Patriots and we beat the Chiefs, that changed everything. And we're in a very good position because now we only need the Texans to lose 1 game and for the Ravens to beat the Steelers. Hopefully, the Ravens don't sit everybody to end the year. But I'm sure you'll go through the games, right?
Yeah. So as you can see on the screen, and you guys probably could check it out real quick on your end too as well. They have the Raiders games all listed out right here. Raiders and Broncos, last 2 games of the season. So obviously, we all know that they're going to have to win out to even have a chance of making the playoffs. So I'm going to have them win both. So I'm going to have them win the Colts. So the Colts puts them at 36%. Broncos winning that Broncos game has them at 69%. But let's actually pick the winners of the other games that need to. Let me see if they have Week 18 on here. Oh yeah, they have Week 18. Okay, perfect. All right, so Jets and Browns. Who's winning that? Real quick.
Browns.
Boom. Yeah.
Flacco throwing for 450 yards.
Dang. And falling asleep on the sideline.
I ain't playing.
That's crazy. If you're the Browns, real quick, if you're the Browns, do you bring back Flacco? Like, did they have a chance to bring him back? Because they're paying Watson like a million a year. I don't know. Crazy.
I'll definitely bring him back. I don't see any reason not to bring him back. Even if it's just to help groom DTR, I would still bring him back.
I think they want to. But
there's probably other teams that would probably want Flacco too.
Exactly. The price tag went up because he's probably going to be like comeback player of the year at this point. But we'll see. Lions and Cowboys. Who won it today? It doesn't matter.
The Cowboys
doesn't matter. Standard matter.
No, it's NFC. It don't matter. It don't matter.
So I'll just skip it. I don't even know who won. Who cares?
It's all those gold checked boxes are the ones that matter.
Okay. You sure?
So if you see like the Panthers, the Texans, the Steelers, those are all the matchups that matter.
Okay. All right.
The Browns beat the Jets already, right? The Browns won already.
Yeah.
I think that was Thursday. I think the Browns locked up the playoffs. The Browns locked up the playoffs with that win.
I wonder why this ain't updated. Okay. All right. Don't mind that, y'all.
Yeah.
All right. Panthers at Jaguars. Who's winning that game?
Jaguars
been losing.
I'm gonna go. Well,
Panthers are one of the worst teams. The worst team in the league. So
Trevor Lawrence is out.
Oh, Lawrence is
still
out.
Sure, I'm still going Jaguars. I'm still going Jaguars.
Yeah,
Panthers are
go Jags. Go
Man,
Jags.
Panthers can't.
Panthers
Their offense is
are a hot
terrible.
mess, man.
Yeah. All right. We'll say Jaguars. We'll say Jaguars.
Yeah,
All
let's
right.
go Jag.
Okay. We're still at 69. All right. Okay. We'll see. All right. You said the Ravens, Dolphins don't matter to us. Okay, so we won't pick that. Titans and Texans. CJ is
I want to
back.
pick Texans.
Texans, man. Texans. I think CJ Stroud coming back. He about to throw a party.
All right. That's
Titans are picked 80% to beat the Texans.
That's crazy.
That's wild.
They're picked 80% to beat the Texans.
Yeah, look at the 80% next to the number.
Hold on. Let's see. That doesn't say it on my end for some reason. Oh, yeah. Either way, all right. You guys pick the Texans. All right, Bengals at Chiefs. Who's winning this game?
Chiefs.
Yeah, Chiefs.
All right, let's see. You got Chiefs. Oh man, I'm clicking on the wrong thing.
You got to
All right,
do
Chiefs.
the Steelers, Seahawks too.
Yes, the Steelers. See, that's what I'm saying. So I do got to pick. I think.
Yeah, pick, yeah.
Yeah. So it didn't put. All right. So Steelers, Seahawks. Who you got?
Seahawks.
Yeah, I got the Seahawks.
Broncos, Chargers.
Broncos.
And let me just double check if there's any games.
I don't know. It's Jarrett Stidham, though. That's Jarrett Stidham. I don't know.
Yeah, Jarrett Stidham, but Chargers have who at quarterback?
Easton Stick.
Yeah, man.
Easton Stick. But no, they played a tough game. Their last game, though. Their last game, they played. I forgot who they played. They played them pretty tough. I want to say. Who they play last?
I think the Chargers played the Bills and they played them tough.
They played them tough.
It was like a Saturday night game, I think, or Saturday game. All right, so let's move on to Week 18 and Browns at Bengals. Who's winning that?
Browns. Browns defense is crazy, man.
Yeah.
Hey, they'll probably sit their starters, won't they? You think they win with backups?
They locked up a playoff spot, but I don't know. I don't know if they sit their starters.
They might be trying to get a higher seed, so they might play their starters.
Yeah. I think there's still some stuff in flux.
Yeah.
So Jaguars at Titans.
I gotta go. I gotta be a Jags fan in this game, even though I think Jags versus Titans. Oh, okay, yeah. I'll go Jags.
Yeah, man. I'm gonna go Jags too. Is Trevor Lawrence? He's not done for the year, right?
No, I think that's what I'm throwing that into the equation that he'll probably be back for this game.
I think yeah. See, if he's back, definitely. Even if he's not back, I'm leaning Jaguars. You never know what you're gonna get out of Will Levis. So
those divisional games are tough.
Yeah, facts.
So okay, so Texans at Colts.
I'm gonna go Colts in this one. I'm gonna be the oddball because looking back, CJ had a heck of a game against the Colts earlier in the year, and the Colts still put up 30 on them, and it wasn't really even that close. And so I think even if CJ has a big game, hopefully the Colts can pull that out. That way our playoff odds go up.
You know what makes all these games interesting is the fact that like all these teams have to play to the end to figure out if they made it or not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or if you're like a team that is playing for playoff seeding, for example, like some teams like are playing for playoff seeding, so they're not gonna, rest their starters by last game of the season. So like for example, like the Ravens, I think they play the Steelers. I think that's gonna be a big game. Yeah. So we got the Colts. You're gonna pick the Colts in this one. You want to pick the Colts?
That's my pick, just because to be honest, like the Texans and the Steelers.
I think we need the Texans to lose one game anyway, so we roll with the Colts.
Yeah, because if they win, we're out. If Texans win out, we're out.
Yeah. So we got Bills, Dolphins. That doesn't matter, or does it?
Bills, Dolphins. No. Only way that matters is it doesn't matter like for mathematically for our playoff chances, but it matters in real life because the Dolphins and the Ravens are battling for the number 1 seed. So if the Ravens can lock up the number 1 seed early, they may rest people against the Steelers the last game of the season, and we need the Steelers. And so if the Steelers, we need the Steelers to lose that game. But if Ravens are resting their starter, there's a very good chance that they win that game. So it
Week
doesn't matter
17,
on paper, but
Week 17, the Ravens play the Dolphins, don't they?
yeah, they play the Dolphins. Yeah.
So hopefully the Dolphins can get that win. That way, Week 18, the Ravens are playing their starters for that number 1 spot.
Right.
Yeah.
So Steelers and Ravens, who's winning that?
Ravens.
I'm going Ravens. Yeah.
All right. So
That puts us a 7th seed, I think, right?
does that put us in the playoffs? Does
Yeah,
it
it
say
gives
on
us a
there?
99%. Yeah.
Oh, 100%, because the Texans lost.
Yeah, Texans lost. Yeah.
Texans lost. So
Texans,
if I
Steelers,
just,
man, those are the teams.
you know what's crazy too is if the Chiefs somehow, some way fumble like the next couple games, the Raiders
Oh,
and
that's
the Raiders
that's
win
the
the next
best
2
hope.
games.
Yeah.
I know, but it's so close to happening. Like the Raiders, if they win the next 2, and then like the Chiefs, because their offense is terrible. Like I've never seen the Chiefs' offense with Patrick Mahomes at quarterback play this bad, and Andy Reid as the head coach be that bad. Like, and that's just hey, at the end of the day, the Chiefs are paying Patrick Mahomes all that money. It's going to be hard to put pieces around him, and now those pieces are getting older. Kelce's on that contract, you know what I mean, and like can you name a solid receiver on their team? I mean,
Well, they've lost the last 5 of 8, so there's a realistic possibility. And plus, I mean, the Raiders probably gave you a little bit of a blueprint how to slow that down. So hopefully, I mean, historically, the Bengals have kind of played them pretty well defensively. It's the Broncos game, or who is
The
it?
Chargers.
The Broncos or the Chargers game. That's
Chargers,
the one that I'm like, man.
Yeah, I don't see them losing that game. I do not see them losing that game right up.
At all.
but look, Desert Raider says Raiders can still get as high as 3rd seed, but that you're talking about if they win division. Like I don't know about that. And a lot of teams have to lose.
That will be crazy. And Ray was kind of talking about this earlier, but us finishing the season strong, even if we don't make the playoffs, us finishing the season strong, this will take you back to January 2nd, 2000, if Raider fans remember that. And that was a game, I think we had just been eliminated in the playoffs like the week before. And that was John Gruden's first year, his first year as head coach. But we played the Chiefs. The Chiefs were heavily favored, and we beat them like 34-30 or something like that. And that kind of catapulted us. So the next year, like that's when we started going on that strong run. So I think if we can finish strong, if we don't make the playoffs like we didn't that year, it'll put us in a good position going forward.
I'll be honest. If our first game and if our wild card, if we land that wild card spot and our first game ends up being the Chiefs, I'd much rather it be the Chiefs than say like the Bills or the Dolphins.
So Desert Raider says we still can get the 7th seed if the Texans win out. So let's take a look real quick. Let's make a small adjustment. So if I go back to go to week 17, I already have them beating the. All right, Texans already winning that game. Okay, and let's.
I think that comes down to maybe the Steelers game, the Steelers versus the Ravens.
So hold on, let's see. Look, where am
I think the Jags have to win out for that situation to happen.
Okay, so if I have, I don't know, I have 0% chance. So if Texans win out, the Raiders.
Yeah, it really falls on Texans Steelers. I thought
the Raiders don't win. I mean, look, 0% chance of making the playoffs if the Texans win.
CJ can steal everything from them.
Yeah, so the Texans got.
Wouldn't that be a kick in the pants?
No. I know how.
Bro.
I know how. If this can happen, if the Texans win out and the Jaguars lose the next 2 games, that means the Texans would end up winning the division.
Win the division. Okay, yeah.
And then the Jaguars.
Okay, that makes sense.
So let's just change. Let's see. All right, Panthers. Let's say Let's say if Panthers. They win. I mean, they lose this game. I'm not gonna say the Panthers gonna beat Let's go with what's the last game of the season? Okay, Titans. Let's say Titans. They hate their division rival Jaguars and they win the game.
Yeah. And Will Levis has another crazy game.
And guess what? We make the playoffs.
Okay, so we just need to take Jags to lose one then. And if so, the Texans win both, then Jags is one. Yeah, so I'm saying, man, we have so many. Like there were very few paths starting off, but now all those like everything broke right for the Raiders, and now we have like several paths to make the playoffs.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
why
We've got
it's much
backdoor
more realistic.
entry.
Yeah. So we can.
But
we
it
can
all starts with
potentially win
us. That's the whole
division.
thing.
Yeah.
It all starts with
Yeah, we
us.
got to
Like,
handle our
we have
business.
to-
Handle our business.
Literally, if we handle our business, like we don't, everything else will play itself out. But Raiders have to be able to lock in for these next 2 weeks. And like AP's been preaching, man, like just the biggest door that's in front of us is the front one. So,
So they got to handle their business first. I mean, if the Raiders got to win out first and foremost, and then we'll see how everything falls in place. But
because if the Raiders lose one, there's no way, right?
Yeah, no, I don't know.
And on top of this, like let's say, okay, let's say if the Jaguar, we still wouldn't make the playoffs, but the Steelers, for example, let's say the Steelers steal one, and they beat the Seahawks.
Low-key, Raiders have been in a playoff game the last 2 weeks. To be honest with you, like our playoffs started like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah,
facts.
Yeah, man. Hey, so we kind of looked at pretty much the Raiders' playoff chances, the different scenarios, teams winning, teams losing. We kind of seen every type of combination. I think everybody at this point have seen every combination. You guys can check this out on New York Times website. They got a playoff calculator, but I think Pro Football Talk has one, and then also ESPN has a playoff simulator as well. So y'all can have fun with that, man. But man, this has been a pretty good show, man. I appreciate everybody coming through, man. It's been a solid show.
Thanks.
Oh man, I don't know how that played, but yeah, man. Any last thoughts before going into tomorrow's game? Any last thoughts?
Nah, man, I'm fired up to watch our team play. If we can get the Colts, it just builds the excitement heading into the Broncos. So I just want to see the Raiders go out there and execute. I want to see them fly around and play like Raiders. I'll say this, for the first time in a long time, I feel like I'm watching the Raiders of old. Like for the first time in my life watching the Raiders, I feel like I'm actually watching the bad guys of the league. And it feels good. I want us to kind of keep that momentum, keep that energy, and carry that into the offseason. But, man, let's start by getting a big win against the Colts.
Yeah, facts, 100%. Severe?
Yeah, man. I'm in that space where I find myself rooting for the Raiders to win, but then I'm like, damn, I'm looking at her draft position, like, god dang, dog. So it's one of the situations where it's like I'm like I can see it's like you ever have a dream where you're like running toward like something, but like it's like keeps getting further away, and I keep like seeing Jaden Daniels in the distance, and we're like running toward Jaden Daniels, and he's getting further away. So it's like but a playoff would be great for Raider Nation, man. So I wouldn't be mad at that, man. But we got to take care of business, man. If we take care of our business, then I think if we win these next 2 games, I think we're making the playoffs.
You know what? At the end of the day, man, hey, when's the last time we watched playoff football? I think it was in 2021. That was, I mean, like, for me, watching your team that you root for playing in a really competitive environment where it's win and go home, it's just a competitive, like, you could tell the players are playing hard, the tackles, the physicality, everything. You see that in a playoff game. Usually you're watching it from afar when your team's not in it, but when you're watching your own team in it, it's that much fun. And I think that if the Raiders can at least have one playoff game, that's going to be a good sign for the future for AP. But I would say, hey, at the end of the day, man, like John Dogg says, the Raiders defense is going to punch the mustache off Minshew's face and score a touchdown with it. Man, hey, man, straight out of the AP's locker room right now, man. That's how AP got people talking right now. Talking a whole lot of smack. Protect the Shield says, he says, we got to be the biggest.
Shield.
Yeah, shout out to him. I appreciate you coming through. Another Raider content creator coming through, man. Appreciate it. We got to be the biggest Titans fan. All this comes down to Will Levis, man. Hey, like we kind of outlined before. I don't know if before you seen it. There's a lot of different ways the Raiders can get to the playoffs, man. A lot of different ways. They got to control their destiny, pretty much. They got to win out and win some games, man. But man, it's a lot of people. Hey, I apologize if we couldn't get to everybody's message in the chat. But make sure to leave a comment down below, man. I'll read comments after the video, and I'll answer some any thoughts you had, any thoughts that you wanted to say on the live. Leave a comment down below, and I'll respond. We got some people out here. Let's see. I'm trying to see if I can hit up some before we head out. Let's see. Space B says, "What's up, Severe? I told you AP." Is see, I'm telling you, man, people coming for Severe right now. Space B said, "What's up, Severe? I told you AP him is the dog." Okay.
Nah, AP definitely making a difference. I think we're having the debate about the Patrick Graham effect and how much AP has had, how much difference AP has had on the defense. But I think he's had just an attitude adjustment with the whole team. He's not in there calling the defensive play. I mean, Jack Jones told us like Patrick Graham is calling a great defense, so we know who's calling the defense. But I think AP just changed the attitude of his team, and I think that's what's made all the difference. It wasn't the talent, it wasn't necessarily the cause. It was just the mentality, man. And when you got the team is taking on the demeanor and the personality of the head coach, man, and that's a great sight to see.
Yeah, no, facts, 100%, man. Hey, man, we appreciate everybody coming through, man. It's been a great show, great conversation. Ray, finally back, man. The return of Ray, man. I might just name the live the return of Ray and everything else, man. Like, hey, man, he was able to come through. You could tell he, hey, man, you wanted to, hey, did you get everything out your system? You got everything out? Like,
nah. I was going to go in on
for another hour, bro.
Yeah, I was going to go in on the AP thing, but I'm not going to. I won't do that. We'll save it for after the Colts, man. Maybe I'll have to have a little segment where I can just let my heart vent a little bit.
Hey, there you go, man. Hey, man, hopefully we can get you back. Man, like I said, it's been a great show. Appreciate everybody coming through. Make sure to hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't subscribed, hit that notification bell so you can be notified when I drop content and when I go live. And as you can see on the screen, Real Raider Ray, you can go find him on YouTube, Raider Ray, and also on all his social media handles or social media. And then the Severe Raiders YouTube channel as well. Go ahead and subscribe to him and like all his videos and go check him out all over social media. Give him a follow. And as you can see, PharoahNFL, make sure you give me a follow as well. Man, been a great show. Appreciate everybody coming through. Till next time. Peace.
Great Pharaoh, the gift of Troy is a fabulous fabric from the land of the 5 rivers.
Believe that the greatness of the Raiders would be in its future.
Just win, baby.
Hello? You play to win the game.
You don't play to just play it.